All right, you ready for a little Reliable Sources trivia? Who was the first guest on the program, the very first program? His name was Brian Karem. He appeared on Reliable Sources on March 7th, 1992, when Bernie Cowell was anchoring. There was a segment about, quote, the fine line between rudeness and toughness in questioning the president. That's because Karem, you see him right there, he shouted at President George H.W. Bush during a press briefing. Now, at the time, Karem was a reporter for KMOL-TV in San Antonio, and he was fired for the incident. That's why he was on Reliable Sources then, and now he's with us for the final episode. Brian Karem is the author of the book Free the Press and the host of the podcast Just Ask the Question. So, Brian, my question for you is, gosh, you haven't aged a day. Look at you. How did you do that?
Thanks.
No, that's not my question. My question is, you've heard the guests this hour. What do you want to add to the conversation about what journalists need to be doing today and in the years to come?
Well, I think, Brian, all of your guests have hit on a couple of really good points. And I want to go back to something that Jeff said. I mean, I'm a former president of the Maryland-Delaware District of Columbia Press Association, so I know well what the problems are. And you, being from Maryland, know them as well. The problems in local journalism are brought about by government, right? That's the bottom line. Over the last 40 years, beginning with Ronald Reagan, the rails have been taken off. Consolidation in the news media business means today, though there are twice the number of people on the planet as on the day that I was born, there's about half the number of reporters. You need to hire more reporters. Diversity is an issue because we don't have diversity of ownership. When you have diversity of ownership, diversity of thought comes into play. And then, of course, we've always, you asked earlier about, attracting the right people. Journalism has always attracted the right people. It's hard keeping them. When I first walked into the Brady briefing room in 1985, it was Helen Thomas who introduced me to the world, and it was, of course, my mentor, Sam Donaldson, who said, Brian, take a look at that first row in the Brady briefing room. There's 7 people in that first row. There's 200 years of experience. Of course, he said Helen had 190 of it, and they exchanged, a couple of quips between each other after that. But he was right. And today you have reporters that are hired and brought in to major beats, not just the White House, but Congress and others, that have had no experience. We need experienced beat reporters to do the job. Vetting facts is our coin of the realm. When I ran newspapers, I would have reporters come to me and say, hey, this is what I think. And I go, I don't care what you think. I barely care what I think. What do you know? Vetting the facts and framing them and putting a narrative out there that frames the facts in a useful way so that people can use the information is the chief problem that we have today. And it's what we will face going forward. And I think the future actually is bright. I think the future does portend well for reporters and for, we can never be first anymore. Social media is going to beat you to the event. If there's a fire, whatever, shooting, there's going to be someone with a phone there before we are. Our coin of the realm and what these shows do, like yours and others, is make sure that we have vetted facts. We're first with vetted facts. That's the most important thing. That's what makes us relevant and will always keep us relevant, no matter what the platform, if we remember that going forward.
I'm glad we ended here on a positive note. Brian Karem, thank you for being the first and the last guest on this program.
And thank you for having me. It was always a pleasure, Brian.
Thank you. I want everybody to know